Hello everybody, welcome back to another video where I'm going to talk about Van Morrison. Now, this is a video that I kind of got a little bit of inspiration from my buddy Alex over at Beer and Vinyl. Everybody knows Alex, great guy. Alex recommended that I go back to a couple of my very first videos and update it. And I'm going to do it on this video. And because it's topical, because I just posted a video about Van Morrison, I am going to rank my top 10 favorite Van Morrison albums. Now, I did not go back and watch my old video. I didn't have a list written down or anything like that. So this is a totally new thing. I grabbed my Van Morrison CDs, put them together, picked and choose a few, and these are the 10 that I go to the most. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. I'm also going to link my first video where I talk about why I got into Van Morrison, part of my Why I Love This Artist series. So please check that out. And yeah, I appreciate anybody that's watched that so far. It was a really fun video to get into. But I'm going to jump into some Van Morrison here. Again, 10 albums that I think are my favorites as of this time. It can change. Some of the albums I've had more time with. Some of them I've had one or two listens with in terms of the whole catalog of Van Morrison. But these are the albums that I reach for the most. So number 10, I actually just listened to a couple days ago. This is my fall Van Morrison album, and it's the album Keep Me Singing. This was released in 2016. Again, I talked about it in my video. This was the first Van Morrison album that I bought new, so that's probably why it's in the top 10. Is it a exceptional record? Not particularly. There's some great writing, very poetic, great musicianship, but it's very, very low key in terms of a Van Morrison album. There's not a lot of, brash horns or anything like that, but it's very autumnal. The cover feels like fall to me. Check out the songs Too Late and Keep Me Singing, the title track, and Holy Guardian Angel. Really, really good stuff. So Keep Me Singing by Van Morrison is going to be my number 10. Number 9, let's jump way back, or as Van says, take me way back, way back, way back, way back. Anyway, 1972's St. Dominic's Preview. This has the song Jackie Wilson said, "I'm in heaven when you smile," It's also got St. Dominic's Preview on there. Just a really, really solid Van Morrison album. It's kind of a mix of Astral Weeks, which was his second album, second album, and then Moondance, which was his third. So you have like the pop sensibilities on Jackie Wilson Said, "I'm in Heaven When You Smile," as well as St. Dominic's Preview. But then you have some longer songs like Listen to the Lion and Almost Independence Day. So a really, really good record here. St. Dominic's Preview by Van from 1972 is my number 9. Number 8 and my number 7 are going to be newer albums because I really enjoy the newer Van Morrison stuff. This is from 2017. This is his album Versatile, which is Van doing a lot of standards, also doing some new songs. Is it Van, songwriting genius? No, because again, some of these songs he'd already done before on earlier releases, but then there's a lot of, stuff like Bye Blackbird, A Foggy Day, Unchained Melody, stuff like that. That's really good. And this was the tour that I saw Van Morrison on in 2018. So really, really happy that I have this. If you don't know this album, check it out. It's a great kind of jazzy record if you don't know it. So Versatile by Van Morrison is number 8. Number 7 is going to be the last of like the modern Van Morrison records. This is in 2019. This is 3 Chords and the Truth. Now, I love this album from the get-go. Van had a couple of albums before this, including Versatile, that relied a lot on cover songs. This was all original stuff. He has Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers plays on a song or sings on a song called Fame Will Eat the Soul. Again, he's got some of the players, I think, that played with him on Astral Weeks that are on here, and it's just really, really good. It's kind of got that stream of consciousness Van Morrison style, but also has like the kind of the catchy stuff, like the songs March Winds in February is on here. Really, really great. Does Love Conquer All is a classic Van Morrison kind of tune. And then the last track, Days Gone By, it's kind of like his take on Auld Lang Syne, the New Year's Eve song, and he sings, keep me young as I grow old, that kind of stuff. It's really good. Check out the song Days Gone By from this album. So that is my number 7. Yeah. Number 6 is from 1991. This is Hymns to the Silence, his double record. Fantastic stuff on here. I have my mom to thank for getting me into this one. He's got stuff like By His Grace, All Saints Day, Hymns to the Silence is a great tune. Carrying a Torch, Why Must I Always Explain? He does a version of Be Thou My Vision, Quality Street. Just really, really good. It's very poetic. Some spirituality to it, but also some great Van Morrison, horn tunes, catchy tunes, some spoken word stuff. It's long. Again, it's 2 albums, 2 CD set, but it's very, very, very good. I absolutely adore this album. So Hymns to the Silence is my number 6. So that pushes us to the top 5. Let's jump back a few years to 1982. Beautiful Vision. Fantastic record. I just, again, another fantastic, very accessible Van Morrison album, I think. Great tunes like Dweller on the Threshold, She Gives Me Religion, Cleaning Windows, the title track, Across the Bridge Where Angels Dwell, Celtic Ray. Again, some spiritual stuff on here, but it's also got some catchy stuff. Again, Cleaning Windows is kind of autobiographical about some early jobs that Van Morrison had. I think it's produced really, really well. And definitely my favorite Van Morrison album from the 80s. So, beautiful. Oh, take that back. Not true. Hint. So, Beautiful Vision is number 5. Number 4 is a classic Van Morrison record. I'm going to go with Tupelo Honey. Again, perfect title track. Absolutely love it. Wild Night is a great opening track. This has deep cuts like Straight to Your Heart Like a Cannonball, Old Woodstock. I Want to Rue You, which is a great tune. When the Evening Sun Goes Down, and then the almost 7-minute song Moonshine Whiskey, which he does a great version of on the live album It's Too Late to Stop Now. Again, just fantastic. This is when Van moved up to Woodstock. He was married, he was happy, and kind of getting into the whole kind of Americana scene, like groups like the Band and Eric Clapton, that kind of thing. So 1971, Tupelo Honey, it's a classic. One of the Van Morrison albums I also have on vinyl, and yeah, absolutely love this record. It's just a great feel to it. Top 3. Again, I mentioned this album earlier. I'm going to go with Astral Weeks. This is Van's most stream of consciousness, most poetic, most jazzy, free-flowing kind of record. A lot of people's favorite Van Morrison album. I know it's my buddy Randy Nelson's favorite album of all time. Again, great tunes. When I saw Van in 2018, he opened with the song The Way Young Lovers Do, and then he went right into the song Sweet Thing, both of which are from Astral Weeks. But you also have great stuff on here like Ballerina, and then Madam George, which is just a fantastic tune. Again, a lot of improv on this. Great playing by the studio musicians. Huge change of pace from Van from his first album, Blowing Your Mind, which had Brown Eyed Girl, TB Sheets on it. It was kind of a more R&B record. And then he jumps to this, and you're like, I thought Van sang garage rock. I thought he was the guy from the group Them. I thought he was the guy that wrote Gloria. And then you hear this, and it's like a stream of consciousness jazz. The album flows together, and you're like, who is this guy? He's obviously not sticking to a box, and he's only 2 albums into his solo career. So Astral Weeks for me is number 3. Number 2 is probably his most famous album, Moondance. It was hard for me to not put this anywhere else but the top 5, and it made it all the way to number 2. So Moondance, again, you have And It Stoned Me. Moondance is on here. Caravan, which was done in a far greater extent on The Last Waltz, the final show that the original members of the band did. Into the Mystic is on here. Crazy Love is on here. Come Running is fantastic. These Dreams of You, Everyone, Glad Tidings. It's just pop, rock, some soul. It's just a mix of everything. And this album and Astral Weeks are the 2 albums that anything that Van puts out, since this as like, oh, this is his best album since Astral Weeks. This is his best album since Moondance. This album sounds like Moondance. And it's understandable as to why that's the case. But yeah, I just absolutely love Moondance. It's a pretty much perfect record. In contention to be in my top 10 favorite albums, maybe. But it's number 2 for me for Van Morrison. And this, I'm pretty sure, is different than my list from about 3 years ago. This is my favorite Van Morrison album. This is also my favorite Van Morrison album of the 80s, obviously. And it's from 1989, Avalon Sunset. I absolutely love this record. I think it is perfection. Great tunes on here, like Whenever God Will Shine His Light on Me. You have When Will I Ever Learn to Live in God. These Are the Days, which is a fantastic, epic closing song. Orange Field is a great tune, kind of spoken word. Coney Island. I'm Tired, Joey Boy, which there's actually a cover version out there by Tom Petty that he did on the Into the Great Wide Open tour, I believe, from 1991. I Love to Write Another Song. Have I Told You Lately is on here, which Rod Stewart sang a few years later. But Avalon Sunset is it's a fantastic album. Again, produced really well. Van Morrison is singing just at the top of his game. The writing is beautiful, and I don't have enough good things to say about this record. So Avalon Sunset for me is my number 1 favorite Van Morrison album. I would love to know your top 10. I know I've left a bunch of classics off. His band, The Street Choir, Vita and Fleece, Common One, all sorts of stuff that's, might be in your top 10 or top 5, might be your favorite. But I'd love to know what you think of this. So please leave a comment, and I'd love to chat with y'all. So in the meantime, y'all be good, take care, subscribe if you don't mind, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye now.